Welcome back to Overtake. I'm Renee, and after a busy January to start the sim racing year, including the early access launch of Assetto Corsa Evo, 2025 hasn't stopped speeding up, with great updates and a lot of news that might have flown under your radar. By the way, this month's episode is presented by SimLab. No matter if you need a sturdy rig for your 100% force feedback challenge on stream, or looking for the perfect F1 replica wheel that will definitely get you in trouble with your significant other, SimLab got you covered. Oh, and since we obviously don't want you to get into trouble, Overtake GG Premium members can get a 10% discount on their SimLab shopping spree. Just hit us up over at our website. Enough of our little detour, let's have a look at February's sim racing stories in our second edition of Sim Racers Monthly. Starting off with Wreckfest. Fans were happy to learn that Part 2 of the popular destruction-driven racing game will see its early access launch on March 20th in 2025. While not much detail is known about Wreckfest just yet, developer Bugbear lists an overhauled physics engine, customizable cars, and a fully revamped game modes, including a career that will adapt to individual playstyles as element to look forward to. Additionally, mods will be supported in the early access phase already, making use of the Steam Workshop. With the next one, I will dig my way right into your heart. Another title that has been given a release date is RoadCraft. Although not a racing game, the sequel to SnowRunner and MudRunner focuses on operating heavy machinery to restore roads and sites hit by natural disasters. We've already tried the game in co-op mode and had a lot of fun, as well as finding out who from Overtake team should never be seen on a real construction site. Check out the livestream VOD here. RoadCraft will be available on PC, Xbox and PlayStation from the 20th of May. Back to the racing realm. On Valentine's Day, Kuno Simulazioni announced that Assetto Corsa Evo would see its first content drop deployed on February 19th, adding Fuji Speedway and 2 new cars, the Lamborghini Huracan STO and the Lancia Delta HF Integrale Evoluzione 2. That wasn't just a long name, but also not everything Kunos had up their sleeve. Already 2 weeks before the content drop, update 0.1.5 enabled AC Evo's server, which means that the game's progression and driving academy are now finally available to all players. According to Kuno's roadmap, the second AC Evo early access release is coming up next, including the Circuit of the Americas, 8 new cars, more single-player game modes, and replay tools and a gallery. Plus, Step 2 implementation of VR and triple speed support are set to arrive in the second release. When this will be deployed is not known yet. Similarly, there's no launch date yet for the Automobilista 2 Historics Le Mans versions. However, Razer Studios' lead developer and founder Renato Simeoni confirmed that the Brazilian studio is working on 3 specific versions of the iconic endurance circuit, namely 2005, 1988, and 1971. The tracks should be released from youngest to oldest, according to Simeoni, and they will also come with more cars from the respective eras. So sim racers can look forward to a number of exciting cars to arrive in AMS2 along the way. We already cannot wait for the 1971 version to be the hero in our own version of the legendary Le Mans movie starring Steve McQueen. Meanwhile, things are moving along for BeamNG.drive as well. While it's still not quite there for being a racing game, it does take more strides in that direction. On February 11th, rally content was teased as being work in progress following December's edition of a fairly simple rally mode. It seems like the team behind the simulator is looking to expand on this. But that's not all. On February 18th, drift content was teased for the popular driving game. This includes drift versions of car models that are already present, but also a new drifting circuit. While not much more has been revealed, it seems likely that a bespoke drifting mechanic will be added to BeamNG, as well as adjustments to the physics to make going sideways and style even better. The drifting also continues in RaceRoom. With the freshly launched February FunFest update, drifting, Hillclimb racing, and head-to-head competition arrive in RaceRoom. Not only do the BMW E30 M3 Drift and BMW G82 M4 Drift, as run by the Drift Brothers, make their debuts, there's now a playground for them as well. As an additional layout of RaceRoom Raceway, the drift area offers plenty of space to chuck your car sideways in a nice setting. With the addition of Genting Highlands Highway at an impressive 17.3 kilometers in length, sim racers can slide their way up a Malaysian highway, including plenty of varied turns to challenge them. That's not all though. The new head-to-head track Twin Forest is inspired by the circuits used in the Race of Champions and is located in the British countryside. In true ROC fashion, cars start parallel to each other but on straights that are in different parts of a lap. One lap and you're done, with the time difference being very visible as both cars approach the finish line. Like in the ROC, this allows for a tournament tree, for instance, to determine the fastest out of a pool of sim racers. Finally, Macau is also getting a makeover in the new update, free for anyone who owns the track already. Almost 10 years after first appearing in the sim, it's making the famous street circuits look more contemporary. This brings us to arguably the biggest update of the month. Mere days after celebrating its first anniversary, Le Mans Ultimate added 3 more cars to its LMGT3 roster. And one of them even for free. The Ford Mustang LMGT3 is available to anyone, while the Aston Martin VH Vantage LMGT3 Evo and the Porsche 911 LMGT3 R992 joined the grid via the 4th DLC content pack. To fully represent the 2024 season, another DLC is needed, which will be deployed in May and also have the Losail circuit in Qatar on board. This 5th DLC pack will also be part of the Season Pass. The latest LMU update had more than just content in store though. It also introduced a revised tire model for the LMGT3 cars that makes for a very pleasant experience behind the wheel. Our video editor Michael found the physics to be extremely detailed, particularly in the Mustang. Quote, "The force feedback during braking alone is incredible. Twitches, micro bumps, and an amazingly detailed force transmitted to me by the SimMagic Alpha U in my setup. The improvements made with the tire model will also carry over to the LMP2 and Hyper classes later on. Perhaps in the May update that is also set to finally introduce online driver swaps to LMU. Could that be the point the game's popularity explodes? A first sign is the number of Steam players on the first day of the update. 4,000 concurrent players is almost the same as the peak of the day of the early access release a year ago. Finally, Straight Force Studios, the team behind Project Motor Racing, has unveiled screenshots of the Gillet Vertigo, a prominent model in GTA 2 from the same team, as well as Mosport circuit. The Gillet Vertigo was one of the many skunkworks supercars that arrived in the scene in the late 1990s and early 2000s, pairing a large capacity V6 with modern GT lines and an arts and crafts touch. Due to its entry and success in the FIA GT series, the Gillet Vertigo earned its place on the GTR2 car list and became known to sim racers around the world for competing alongside the equally as crazy BMW M3 GTR. However, since then, the car has fallen away from official racing game inclusion. In late 2023, when the game sported the GT Revival title, Straight Force Studios announced the first tracks in-game being Lime Rock and Sebring. Now, as part of the most recent post, it seems that the 2 North American tracks will be joined by a third in the form of Mosport. What other cars and tracks do you want to see in Project Motor Racing? Let us know in the comments down below. And that's February in sim racing news for you. Check out the Overtake GG website if you want to read the newsflash for yourself. And while you're there, why not treat yourself and become a premium member for just €1 a month if you like what we're doing? An ad-free browsing experience, our race club, hardware giveaways, and more cool benefits that make your sim racing life easier await. As always, leave your feedback and suggestions for this format in the comments below. Thank you for tuning in, and see you next month Sim Racers Monthly.